everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, welcome. We're the Garso Twins. I'm Carly.
And I'm Britta.
And if you like this video, we'd love it if you would subscribe before you leave so you don't catch any of our future videos.
You don't miss any of them.
Yes. Today we thought it'd be fun to run down our favorite shows on each streaming service. If you're not interested in our show favorites, you don't need to watch this video. We know that a lot of people don't watch as much TV as we do.
Yeah.
But just in case this video is going up while we're still all social distancing, we thought it would be helpful to give you guys a rundown of our favorite shows, just a quick recap of each show, how many seasons there are in case you like to binge watch like we do. So let's get started. Okay, so the first streaming service we want to talk about is Netflix because I feel like everybody has Netflix.
And it probably has the best options.
Yeah, it has the most options, probably the best options. So for most of these, we're going to limit ourselves to 3, like our top 3 picks. But for Netflix, we did 4 because we really couldn't narrow it down.
Which thank God Friends isn't on anymore because that would be 5.
That would be 5 for sure. But basically, we're just going to tell you our top shows that we keep rewatching on each platform. So number 1 is The Office. If you're unfamiliar, it's so good. I feel like everyone in America loves The Office, and it took us a little bit to get into, honestly.
So if you're kind of putting it off because you're oh, it's probably overrated, or if you watched the first season and you weren't a fan, keep going because the first season has a bit of a weird vibe.
Yeah.
And it gets a lot, they get into their groove and it gets a lot better. But I mean, I still think the first season's amazing. The show is hilarious.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with the premise, just quickly, it started as a British sitcom about a paper company. Well, I don't know where it took place in the British one, but a paper company, an office, a normal working class office setting, and they're filming a documentary series. So they brought it over to America. Steve Carell is the main character as Michael Scott. God bless his heart. He is the best character to ever be written
on television.
Yes,
the best.
He's so funny. But basically, like I said, they are Dunder Mifflin paper. So you have the sales team, the accounting team, reception.
Michael's the
branch
branch
manager. But then you also see the corporate workers. And then they basically have mini interviews within the show because they're being filmed for a docuseries about their company. So it's a really interesting way to film a television show. It's very interactive. It's just so funny. Mindy Kaling and BJ Novak were 2 of the main writers on the show. It's so good. If you just love to laugh, watch it. There were 9 seasons?
Yes.
9 seasons.
Just crazy.
So they're 30-minute episodes. I think on Netflix they would be about 20 minutes. So you get through it really quickly.
Highly recommend. Out of every show we're going to talk about, if you have not jumped on the Office train, definitely watch that. Okay, next is Gilmore Girls. Okay, so we love binging Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
I've watched it through on Netflix 2 or 3 times, including the Netflix
Year in the
reboot that
Life.
they did. Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you guys noticed, they started posting on the Gilmore Girls Instagram again. I'm hoping that's a sign of something to come.
Maybe another reboot on Netflix.
Yeah, so excited. We love this show. Again, a lot of these shows we're going to talk about are very feel-good shows because that's the type of television we generally like.
Or suspense.
Yeah.
We're kind of opposites.
Or
but
drama. We just love feeling we love watching television to escape and just laugh and just, it's, especially at this time, these shows will get you through it. But Gilmore Girls, it's about a mom and a daughter, if you didn't know. A single mom who raised her daughter basically.
She had her when she was
16. Yeah. And it's their life in a small town, Stars Hollow, which is the cutest town ever. I wish is it real?
No.
It's not real, right? Yeah. I wish it was real. And it just follows their lives in this cute little town for, what did we say, 8 seasons? 7 seasons. And Rory and Lorelai. I love the trajectory because you see Rory in high school and then you see her move on to college and then you even see her, we see her at her college graduation. That's where it ends. And then there's the Year in the Life which is 10 years later? And so she's in her mid-30s. So it's just so cool to see their relationship amongst the years. They have ups and downs. And then all the characters in the town really add to the plot of the show. They're all so funny and weird and strange. And then Lorelai, the mom, comes from a very wealthy family. So her parents are in it the whole series.
Yeah, her parents are basically the best characters.
Yes.
They're so good.
And they didn't have a good relationship. Basically, when she got pregnant, she left the house and raised Rory on her own, worked for her own money, and worked her way up to become very successful.
but her parents just never approved of her lifestyle, essentially. So seeing that relationship is also super interesting because her relationship with her mother is so different than Lorelai's and Rory's.
Yes.
Rory also has a few boyfriends amongst the way. We're Team Logan. If you guys watch the show, let us know what team you are on. We love Even Logan. After Year in the Life, I gotta say, I'm still Team Logan.
Me too. Love him to death.
He's my favorite one out of all the boys she dated.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Jess, but we'll just save Jack for This Is Us. Talking about it soon.
Yeah.
Next up is Glee, and I have to say, if I'm in a real slump, like feeling not good at all mentally, Glee is what I put on the TV.
Me too.
I don't know what that show does, but it has magical powers that just lifts your spirit.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like, so when it was on, if you're unfamiliar with Glee, it ran on Fox. There were, did I say 6 seasons of it?
Which is crazy. It seems like longer.
It does seem longer, but it was really, really big in its heyday. Basically, it was about a Glee club in Ohio, and like their teacher, and basically they were kind of a group of misfits at McKinley High that band together to create this Glee club, and then they became something like very important for their school, and they were all so different from each other and to like learn to work together. There are a lot of showmances, which is also the name of the podcast. If you're interested in that podcast, we love it. And they would just sing like popular songs. They would do duets. They would do mashups, which is like 2 songs that they would combine into one. It was just such a feel-good show. Also super funny. It was by Ryan Murphy.
Is incredible.
It was by Ryan Murphy, and Ryan Murphy, Ian Brennan, and Brad Falchuk wrote the first, I think, 2 seasons on their own, which is crazy.
Yeah, they like created it, produced it, wrote it.
Which is nuts. They're so talented. But if you're familiar with Ryan Murphy's work, it's a little bit like, I don't know.
Cuff, would you say?
Yeah.
Like the jokes are a bit intense.
Yeah.
But like they hit and you just kind of like laugh it off.
And some of the things I don't think would translate to like present day, because this was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
There's like a lot of things that probably aren't appropriate now, but I don't know.
At the time, it was so funny. And it's just...
Well, it's still funny. Majority of the writing is still hilarious. And again, the characters are so weird.
Yeah.
And they just make you laugh because they say the most absurd things, like Sue Sylvester.
Yeah, and the songs they sing, the season finale, or series finale, they sang I Lived by One Republic. And like, I cannot listen to that song without tearing up a little bit, thinking of the last number where they brought everyone back. It's so fantastic, so well done. Over the years, they just started like adding more and more members, because obviously, I think when the show started, the Glee Club were juniors in high school. So like they had
sophomores. Were they sophomores?
Maybe sophomores.
Yeah.
So they had to graduate and then they had to go to college. So I like how they actually made them leave, you know? And then we saw them do their own things, and then we also saw like the new Glee Club at McKinley and then follow their lives. So it was just like lots of different groups of characters that we followed through the 6 seasons, which I really enjoyed, the complexity of like each storyline.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you want to just watch a few seasons, definitely the first like 3 are the best.
Yeah.
But they're all good.
If you can't make it through, we understand they're long episodes.
Yeah, well, they're an hour, so I think on Netflix they would be like 42 minutes, something like that.
The best.
Okay, and last up for Netflix is New Girl. If you just want a feel-good comedy that's super easy to watch, there were 7 seasons, short episodes, but it would be like 20 minutes on Netflix.
I'd say it's the most universal show out of the ones we're discussing.
Well, and The Office.
Yeah. Well, some people really don't like The Office.
Don't like
I
The
know,
Office.
I don't get it, but...
But New Girl, I don't think I've ever met anyone that doesn't like New Girl. Basically, it's about... So Zooey Deschanel plays Jessica Day, and on the first episode, this isn't spoiling anything, but her and her boyfriend break up, and so she, like, needs to move immediately and finds an open room in this loft with 3 men, and they decide to let her live there. And she's the new girl in the building, in the apartment. And basically, like, they become fast friends. And they're all so different from each other. The writing is so good. It's so hilarious. Zooey Deschanel as Jessica Day is 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
she is Jessica Day. It's so perfect. And I like that this show, like, nothing major ever happens. It's not super dramatic. It's really just lighthearted. It's funny. It's like
there's
heartwarming.
Like some emotional moments, but overall it's so lighthearted. And you feel like you're a part of their friend group. Like you just like love their life and their friend every Christmas and like every Thanksgiving, I love to go back and watch all the Thanksgiving episodes.
Yeah.
Every Christmas, I like to watch the Christmas episodes.
So good.
It's that kind of show where you can literally watch it any time of the day, any time of the year. Okay, next up is Hulu. So we decided, Hulu actually has a lot of television shows now, but we decided to just talk about ones that are currently running that we like to watch episodes on. And I also want to mention Hulu. I don't know exactly how much it is to get the version without commercials, but I know like the normal version is included with a lot of other subscriptions. Like we get it because my boyfriend has Spotify, and so it's like included in that monthly subscription.
Well, and we got our new Apple phones.
Yeah, they said that it was included too. So. Yeah, so look for those deals if you don't want to pay for it at all, because there's a lot of ways to like get around that.
Definitely.
So our first show, our favorite show on this service, probably one of our favorite show running currently. I don't know. We have a lot of loves, but This Is Us, which is on NBC. It is incredible. It's on Tuesday, so you could watch it on Hulu on Wednesday.
Yes.
We love this show so much. We talked about it on our channel multiple times, so hopefully you guys have watched it and can just relish in the joy of the show with us. It's a commitment, but it centers around the Pearson family. Like, you don't want to spoil it because the first episode is so powerful. Like, can we really? Okay, we'll talk about how we'll get into like how it follows them. Yeah, basically. But we won't spoil the first episode because it's really powerful and it's kind of like a plot twist, right? You know what I mean? No, I think we can tell you guys that basically it follows the Pearson family. There's mom and a dad, Jack and Rebecca, and then they have 3 kids, triplets, and they're called the Big Three. Yeah. And so it kind of there's something that happens in the first season, like at the very beginning, that they backtrack towards. So like the season finale, you kind of find out what happened. Similar to how to Get Away with Murder, like sets up every single.
did that too, remember?
Yeah, so like I love actually shows like that where at the first episode you kind of find out how the whole season is going to play out.
Yeah.
And what it's leading up to. And they also have, because the Big Three, they want to show you how they grow up. There's multiple timelines. Like there's a timeline where they're babies. There's a timeline when they're like 5 years old. That was new this season.
Yeah.
There's a timeline when they're 17, 13. And then like present day where they're 39 now.
Yeah.
But on season 1, I think they were 35. And that's another thing. Each season starts on their birthday.
Their birthday, yes.
So, it's very sweet.
Yeah,
right. And they have the same birthday as their dad as well. So it's just adorable. But the show is so good. It is really dramatic.
Yes.
It is not for the faint of heart. You basically will cry every episode, especially season 1. But I have to say my favorite season is the season we're in, season 4.
Me too.
It's so good. But the best episode to date is the premiere. The first episode is so incredibly done. It will make you bawl your eyes out. Like, we have a coworker that recently started watching it, and she said like she watched it and she was hooked. Like, you have to just see how this family grows and like see how this plays out. Yeah, and I love that each season kind of focuses a little bit more on one of the Big Three or even the parents. Like the first season was very Jack-centric. Who's the dad? The patriarch of the family. Season 4, I feel like really gives Kevin a good background story. In season like 1 and 2, he was kind of very like surface level, still like very likable character. But I really love Kevin in season 4 and seeing like his journey. We don't want to like tell you about too many characters because a lot of them are like shocking.
Yeah.
Randall's definitely everyone's favorite. He's one of the Big Three. He'll probably be your favorite as well. He's not so likable in season 4, the current season, but 1 through 3, he's the best.
Yeah.
You will love him. And yeah, Jack, Milo Ventimiglia plays Jack, and it's like he's so perfect for this role, and he also plays Jess on Gilmore Girls. So if you're a fan of both, you'll love that crossover.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give too much away, but if you like a good like kind of feel good drama, mostly just very like emotional. It touches on a lot of topics that people go through that aren't really talked about. Like there's so much talk about mental health, death, which is obviously a really challenging subject to put on TV. Yes, different types of addiction, like alcoholism, but also like addiction to food. Yeah, there's so much that is discussed, and I think it's a great show to help people feel like they're not alone in these things that they're going through.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is our favorite comedy on Hulu. This was hard because sitcoms, if you don't know us, like sitcoms are our life. We love sitcoms, and actually at the end of this video, I want to mention 2 shows that we just watched on DVD because I don't know how else
no
you
one's
can
gonna
watch
buy
them.
DVD, but sure, you can mention them. because we just love sitcoms so much. So anyways, our favorite on Hulu is Superstore, which is an NBC comedy from the creators of The Office, right? Yeah. So it kind of has that same, if you like The Office, you would like Superstore. It kind of has that same, like,
well, it's kind of like a workplace comedy.
It's a workplace
but not
comedy.
the documentary style that The Office has, but a similar, like, workplace comedy
But
vibe.
I feel like the jokes are very similar.
Yeah,
the humor is similar. The group of people is just as, like, mismatched.
Even more in Superstore.
So basically, Superstore is supposed to be what you would imagine, like, a Walmart.
Well, we can't decide if it's like a Walmart or Target because sometimes it looks really nice and we're like, oh, maybe it's like a Target situation.
Yeah, but they have like a huge grocery section.
That's true. I don't know, like a Walmart or like what's that new one? Meijer.
Okay, it might be like a Meijer.
Okay. Meijer? Yeah.
Yeah, it might be more like that because it is kind of a nicer Superstore. But regardless, it's a Superstore and it's about all the employees that work there. So obviously you have the store manager, which in the beginning seasons is Glenn. And I do want to mention they're on their 5th season right now. Like I said, it's on NBC, so it's only like 30-minute episodes. You could catch up easily. And it's just so funny to watch these characters interact with each other at work. And then I have to say my favorite thing about this show is like the quick cutaways to the customers.
Yeah.
Like they'll just do like cutaways to and just imagine the music that they play at like Walmart and Target. Like sometimes it's like 90s throwback.
Yeah.
It's always like really weird but also very like memorable music.
Yeah.
And they'll do quick cutaways to customers like either like stealing something or like opening a bag of cereal and like eating it straight out of the aisle, or like kids playing with toys in the aisle, which is so relatable because we've all seen those things happen at like these giant stores. And so I have to say that is just so well done on their part. So relatable. It's just such a funny show. Everyone that I've told to watch it, because I feel like no one talks about it.
I know.
For whatever reason.
It's been on for 5 seasons, which is an incredible feat for a comedy.
Yeah, but everyone I've told to watch it is like, it's so funny.
It's
like
so
I watched
funny.
it in like 3 days.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Also, fun fact, we live in LA and they film this on the lot in Burbank, the Warner Brothers lot. And you can see the storefront when you drive by because they have to film like outside shots a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like a parking lot set with the storefront.
Which is called Cloud Nine. So
yeah.
if you ever drive down, what is the street called?
Like Burbank Boulevard?
No.
What is it?
We drive down it all the time.
Cahuenga?
No. Barham. No, you take Barham to the street.
Burbank. Isn't it called Burbank? I don't know.
Is it? One sec. We figured it out. So it's Barham Boulevard that turns into Olive. So if you ever are driving like towards Burbank, at least for us, we take Cahuenga to Barham, which turns into Olive, and then that kind of gets you to Burbank. So if you ever find yourself in that area, you'll see Cloud9 Superstore. And it's just so funny to us because it looks like a real store.
Yeah, like you drive by and it looks like it's a store that we could just pull into the parking lot, which makes us feel like we're living in the show.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, next up is A Million Little Things, which is on ABC. This has a very similar This Is Us vibe. I feel like with the success of This Is Us, they kind of wanted to create a show that was similar.
But it is different because this is about a group of friends.
Yeah, and it's just as dramatic, but a little more cheesy, I'd say. Like, there's like some cheesy moments, you know? Whereas This Is Us is straight
I feel like
drama.
This Is Us is more cheesy.
Oh, I do not feel like that. I feel like This Is Us is more like a drama movie, whereas A Million Little Things is like a drama
I think
show.
A Million Little Things has more comedy.
Yes,
mixed
it's
in.
a little lighthearted, more lighthearted. But anyway, it surrounds a group of friends. I don't think this is giving anything away because this is in the premise online. But the first episode, one of their best friends kills himself. And I just want to backtrack a little. So there's 4 guys that met in an elevator.
Yeah.
And they became like quick, fast friends because they all related on loving hockey. So then like once a week they would go to hockey games together. So then eventually all of them and their wives and their families became very, very close.
They're like a family themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So he kills himself on the first episode, and then it kind of shows you where the other 3 guys are during that time and like what happens after that. Like one of them is getting his screening to see if he still has cancer because he had breast cancer. Another one of them was actually also going to commit suicide on that same day, and he doesn't because he gets a call about his friend. And then, is this giving away too much?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're not saying names.
Yeah, that's true. And then The third
Well,
one...
don't say this one.
Okay, yeah, the third one...
Doing something very scandalous.
He's going through a lot in his marriage.
Yeah.
So they're all in bad places. Like, this is not... They're not in good places when this happens. Obviously, this kind of, like, puts them over the edge, but also wakes them up and realizes, like, there's so much life to live and that they need to change their lives for the better, to be happier. And then that kind of is just the catalyst for the rest of the seasons of them trying to be better
and being better
and take care of themselves. And like also trying to live without John, because he was like he was their leader in a sense. He was always the one that was there for him. He was the oldest, the most successful, arguably. He was the one that would go to the chemotherapy appointments with his friend that was battling cancer. He would just always be there for them in ways that the rest of them like couldn't be there for each other for whatever reason. So I think the first season is a lot of them finding out how to live their lives without their friend. And now as it's progressed in season 2,
well, now it's on season...
No, it's season 2. And it was actually just this last week was the 1 year since John's death. So at this point, they're not over it, but they're like very much learning how to live without John in a good way, in a healthy way, and they've all come so far. But then it's also like very hard for them to like relive that, and they're obviously still going through things, but it's just so like nice to see them going through these things together, because they are like friends are the family you choose, and so they just choose to like continue to be there for each other, and it's just a very, very like heartwarming show. Yeah, definitely, especially if you love your friends like as much as we do. We have a really close group of friends, and it really opens your eyes to like, oh well, they're your family, like they're like your friends. It's really sweet. And yeah, it's definitely, season 1 and season 2 are really different. So if you watch season 1, definitely continue to season 2, because season 1 also unveils a lot about John's past. Yeah. They don't really talk about that in season 2. Yeah. Next up, we'll talk about Amazon. So if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can stream the Amazon original series. Right? There's no like other series on Amazon, I don't think yet. Well, there are, well, actually, I don't know. Yeah, they might offer more than we know, but these are the ones that they're both Amazon originals. The first one is, I think we've called it our favorite show when it's actually like on, because it's so incredible. It's so good. I wish it could win Oscars, like just every award. It's not a movie, but it's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Again, every single person that has watched the show that we know loves it. Men and women, everyone loves this show. Any age. It's incredible. It centers around a lady named Midge Maisel. You meet her when she's probably like 29? Yeah. Like she's probably not even 30 in the first season. And again, like, I don't know how much we can, like, spoil these things, but I'm just gonna we should talk about the first episode. Yeah, like, first episode. Yeah. She finds out, well, her husband tells her that he wants to leave her to pursue a comedy career. And then later in the episode, you also find out that he's been cheating on her with his secretary. Yeah. Is that right? Also, this takes place in New York City in, like, the 50s, I think. Right? 50s? 60s? 50s. 50s, you're right. Which is just stunning. The sets, the clothes, everything is just beautiful. They did an outstanding job. But so obviously, times were different. And, like, men just generally didn't, like, leave their husbands. And also, like, a lot of women didn't work. Yes, and she doesn't work. At this point, they have 2 kids, both really young. One's like a newborn baby. Ethan is like 3. So really young kids. She's a stay-at-home mom. She like basically lives to please him and like have dinner ready, even though they have a live-in nanny as well. Well, they live in the same building as her parents too, but their apartment is beautiful. Yeah, so they have like this seemingly perfect life. And yeah, generally even when like the cheating happens, back in that time, they make it clear that you don't get divorced. Yeah. But he leaves and she doesn't want to stand for that, so she wants a divorce. And then basically she gets really drunk and goes to a comedy club, or the one that he's at, right? So he performs and he's awful. He like tries to copy someone else's act, which is just gross. And then she gets on stage and she just like makes all these jokes about her husband cheating on her and like what is she gonna do now, and people just think she's hilarious. She gets so many laughs. She actually gets kicked off stage, gets arrested.
And then she meets another key character, which I don't want to ruin all this for you.
And then from that, she gets an agent, and then their relationship becomes like a huge premise of the show.
And basically, she becomes a stand-up comedian, which again was unheard of back then. I feel like even now, it's very rare to find a woman stand-up.
No, it's not rare, but it's much harder for them, I imagine.
Yes, I agree. Like, it's one of those things where it's just a male-dominant career, I would say. As, like, still to this day, male dominant. But back then, no women. I think they said she was, like, one of three. Don't they say it in there?
But basically, there are only 3 seasons so far. There's only 26 episodes total. They're about an hour each. So you could get through it pretty quickly. I mean, not super quickly, but...
Yeah. We binge them quick because we love it so much.
Yeah, I watched season 2 twice all the way through. It's so good, and I love how each season is kind of like a different phase of her life.
And setting.
Yeah, and setting. Like, season 2 happens in the Catskills because it's, like, during summer, which is really interesting.
I think season 2 was my favorite so far.
I know, me too.
It was also the longest. There was 10 episodes, where 1 and 3 have 8 episodes.
But it's amazing. It's so well done. The cinematography, the music, the cast.
The cast, out of all these shows, well, This Is Us has really talented actors as well, but the cast in this show,
it's so
top notch. Her dad is played by Tony Shalhoub, and he's my favorite character, Abe. He's so incredible, and her mom is so funny too. They're all so good, and you kind of see like her romantic relationships, and her and her husband, they go like back and forth, and it's a ride, and it's so good.
It's highly recommend.
Anyone would love it.
Okay, and we only have 2 Amazon picks because we just haven't explored it as much. If there's any on Amazon you guys recommend, let us know. But the other one that I watched, Carly hasn't, is Modern Love. And there's only been 1 season, 8 episodes, super easy to get through. I spoke about it in a weekly favorites, I think. But basically, each episode centers around a different type of relationship. So it could be like the first episode, for instance, is the relationship between a young woman and her doorman in her building. There is an episode between like a middle-aged couple, which is obviously like more relatable for a lot of people. There's an episode with a woman who is bipolar. So that episode was Anne Hathaway played the woman, and she did such a good job. And so that was like her, and well, at the end you find out it's really about her and her coworker that was there for her through everything, and she was so scared to open up, but it really centered on herself and like kind of finding herself. So I love that this show just shows you that there are so many different types of relationships that we have to like cherish and work on, and just like to be there for each other, and that you can find like meaningful relationships in kind of like any walk of life, like any stage of your life. It doesn't always have to be romantic, which is why it's called Modern Love. And it was so well written. I loved how each episode was actually so different from each other. The cast was different in each episode, but they all took place in New York City, which was just so magical because we love New York. Definitely a feel-good show, but also like there were emotional moments that I appreciated, and just highly recommend if you need something like quick and uplifting to watch. Okay, next up is HBO, and we haven't like dived very deeply into HBO.
And spoiler alert, we don't watch Game of Thrones.
So no, we don't watch Game of Thrones. We don't watch Westworld. So if there are shows that you think we would like on HBO, please let us know, because we do pay for that service. So we'd like to like explore it more. But these shows we're going to talk about like aren't really new or currently on. Well, one of them is. The first one we want to talk about is The Newsroom, because it is still one of my all-time favorite TV shows. There were only 2 seasons of it. Basically, it followed
3 seasons.
2, I thought.
Oh, I thought we said 3, but
were there
keep going.
2.
Oh, okay.
I think there were only 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It's an Aaron Sorkin show. If you don't know, he did The West Wing. Everything he does is just like phenomenal, I feel.
Did he do 7th Heaven too?
Oh, did he? He may
Oh
have.
no, that was actually maybe, I don't know. He's done a lot. He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So Jeff Daniels plays the main character, Will McAvoy. He is a news anchor on like a big network.
Or basically like CNN.
Yeah. And their ratings are down, so they hire a new EP who happens to be his ex-fiance. So throw that in the mix and you already know you're like in for some drama. And they obviously like still have feelings for each other. But basically the thing I loved about The Newsroom the most, well, number one, it aired while we were in journalism school, so it really like hit home to everything we were learning about.
It was so awesome to watch it.
Yeah. And number 2, they covered real life events. So like What was one that they did that...
Well, when they found and killed Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
That was a big
So
episode.
that was like an episode for them. So it was so interesting to see. Like, it just put you into the minds of those journalists and how when those big news stories broke, like how they reacted and how their lives kind of changed, like in an instant, and how they just had to like go and like report. And then it also, but there were certain storylines of people on like the presidential campaigns and how those journalists, like you literally take a bus from like city to city and just like writing stories like every single night on like where we're at in the election. And it takes a lot of work.
Haiti. Wasn't it Haiti? They did episodes.
They went to Haiti.
Yeah. Oh, and then Olivia Munn's character, she kind of struggles to be taken seriously. She wants to do like...
She's a producer.
Yeah, the nightly news and be taken seriously as a woman. So that's like a great point. And that was before all the Me Too stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so it was really ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was 2012, I think. So a little bit ago, but we still love watching it. We've rewatched the show like a couple times through.
I constantly think about all the things that are happening today or have happened recently that I wish the show was still on, because it basically like took everyday things that were happening in real time and made it into like a fictional television show, but based off of real life. Like, I don't think other shows have really done that. So.
No, and it was so special. The cast was amazing. And I know HBO kind of is known for having, at least from my impression, like a short run for these types of shows.
No, I feel like they usually have long runs, so it was
Really?
really disappointing that it was canceled.
Maybe. I don't know why it got canceled. If you guys have seen it, like, let us, like, I hope you feel the love that we do for this show, because it was such a gem, so good. So, like, if it's just an easy show to watch because there are only 2 seasons too. So
I also think we're not alone here in all the like journalism type of movies and shows that we love. I know like we went to school for that, so we have a special place in our heart. But I think a lot of people generally like watching those type of shows and entertainment.
Okay, and next up is a show we recently spoke about, so we won't harp on it, but it's McMillions. It's a docu-series on HBO currently. All 6 episodes are out now, so you can just binge watch it.
But it's like new.
It's new.
The last episode just aired.
Yeah. Which, by the way, in our last weekly favorites video, when Carly told me, no, I think we finished the series, I was
wrong.
right. There was 1 episode left, and it was a big episode.
It was, but I didn't know because it seemed like it ended.
It did seem
they
that
tell
way,
you
but
a lot more.
yeah. So we find out who the informant is. But anyways, the show surrounds the McDonald's Monopoly scam. If you're unaware, basically for 12 years, there was this whole scam going on ran by this one man, Uncle Jerry, that would steal the $1 million and just high prize winning Monopoly pieces from the McDonald's Monopoly game. They get into how he did it and all that. And he would distribute them to his recruiters, who would then distribute them to the winners, the faux winners, that would cash it in. And basically they had like this pyramid scheme happening where Uncle Jerry would sell the pieces for $50,000 to these recruiters. Then the recruiters would find the winners. The winners would cash in the prize and split the prize 50-50 with the recruiters.
And McDonald's paid them out in increments, so they would like split each check that they got.
Every month.
It was only like
$20,000 a month.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of money, but it wasn't like a whole lump sum.
But then considering, so I think it was $20,000 a month. You had to pay 50% in taxes. So at the end of the day, it's only like $5,000 per month per person.
Well, that was another thing, is that the recruiters just took the half. Like they wrote in the contract that they got half, but then the tax fell on the
so they were basically like left with nothing, right?
Yeah, so they were left with like a basic salary. I mean, it wasn't even like, most of them said they didn't get rich off of it and highly regretted it because of how this ends.
Yeah, so they get taken down by the FBI. Eventually, they all get, I think at the end of it, there were like 53 people indicted in this scheme. And you see how it plays out, but it's just the people involved in this.
Like, you think they're fake. We said this in our weekly favorites, but you think that they're fictional characters because of how absurd they are.
Yes. Our favorite character is Doug Matthews, which he was, I think, only
again, he's a real person.
He's real. He's still in the FBI, and I think at this time he was like 24, and this was like his first big case. He got to go undercover. He's so funny, and if you listen to the McMillions podcast, they do a Q&A at the end of each episode. It's the directors of the series, and someone wrote in and said, I want Doug to have his own spin-off, and they said that they're working on something with him. So I'm crossing my fingers that they're doing like a spin-off series with this man, because he's so funny. But then all of the recruiters and the, like, basically criminals that are involved in this are also so funny, but also capture your heart in such a way that, like, you're like, these are actually good people. Like, how do they get involved in this?
Yeah. But, like, they're also very open about being criminals.
Yeah.
But they seemingly are really good people. It's just wild.
But dare I say this is, like, my favorite show of the year so far. I thought it was so good. It's so good. Easy. 6 episodes. You'll get through in a day.
You'll love it. You'll find it fascinating. You'll find it wild. Watch it.
Next up is a show that I'm actually pretty sure most of you have watched, but it's Big Little Lies, which again is on HBO. Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon produced the show and star in it. It's based on a book. I forget who the book is by. I feel very bad about that. I'll look it up while you're talking.
Okay, it's based on a book, and it basically centers around women living in Monterey Bay, which is it technically Northern California?
No, the Central Coast.
The Central Coast, so like Middle California. It's a beautiful, beautiful small town.
Oh, Leanne Moriarty, and if you're wondering, the book has over 672,000 ratings on on Goodreads, and 4.27, which if you're on Goodreads, you know it's like really hard to get over 4 stars. So
very popular. Yes. And they bought the rights to this book a long time ago, I believe, because they knew they wanted to make a show.
I think it was her episode of Second Life, which is, again, it's one of our favorite podcasts, about how, I guess, in, like, this industry, you can, like, buy book rights, like, very far in advance, and she is just really good at finding books that she knows are going to be so popular.
Yeah. She has a talent. She has a book club, too, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So they bought the rights, they made this show, and it centers around these women in this small town, a very wealthy
go to
town.
school together.
Yes. This is kind of like a classism situation as well. Like, you see, like, how these people live, but also, like, more money, more problems. So yeah, they all have kids. They all go to school together, and there's a lot of twists and turns, which we won't ruin for you.
Yeah.
All these other shows we've been talking about, but we can't ruin this. But basically, you kind of find out how a lot of them are intertwined. There's like a new mom in town, Jane, and they really dive into her story. It's very aggressive. Like, there's abuse in it.
It's hard to watch.
Abuse.
So it could be triggering.
Yeah, it could be triggering. But it's also very empowering to see these women just kind of like rise above it all, and really band together, especially in season 2. There's a lot that happens in season 1 that leads you into season 2, and at the end of season 2, they're very, like, close because of all that they've been through. There's definitely some funny parts. Like, I don't want to say it's all serious, but it's mostly a drama, very intense. There's a lot, like, that happens in marriages that they show you, and it's good. It's really good. Normally, this is the type of show we would stay away from, like Game of Thrones, where it's, like, too intense, but there's something about this that's really special, I think.
It's like you said, like, it feels very empowering to watch.
Yeah, they're all such incredible actresses. Meryl Streep is in the 2nd season, which is a treat. Her character is awful, but she's an awesome actor. So yeah, it's really, really good, even though it's really intense. Okay, and we only have one for Disney Plus. Again, if you have any recommendations, we haven't really, like, used that platform at all. And now it seems like Lizzie McGuire might not be happening, so I hope it does, but
I know. So it was kind of not disappointing because at least it has all the classics, but if there are any good shows on there you think we would like, please let us know. The only one we've watched is The Mandalorian. I'm just going to read.
Which was so good. Worth it to buy the subscription for this show.
Yes. So it says, The Mandalorian, also known as Star Wars The Mandalorian, is an American space western web television series created by Jon Favreau and released on Disney+. It is the first live-action series in the Star Wars franchise, set 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi and 25 years prior to the events of The Force Awakens. It follows the title character, the Mandalorian bounty hunter, and his exploits beyond the reaches of the New Republic. So I feel like that time frame is very beneficial because, I mean, you really just have to know.
We still are a bit confused on the timing.
Yeah, but you really just have to know
that it's after Return of the Jedi.
Yes, 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and then just, it's obviously before The Force Awakens. I feel like that's kind of obvious. But anyways, I know we spoke about this in a weekly favorites too, so we won't dive too much into it.
And it's been a while since we watched it.
Yeah, but there are only 8 episodes, so again, it's really easy to get through. And there's this Baby Yoda character that this Mandalorian bounty hunter is, like, feels the need to protect through this like, whole series.
Yeah, he was the bounty, and he turned him in, and then he realized the people are not good people.
And they were going to hurt him. And if you see this baby Yoda, it's like the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Cutest thing ever.
And so I feel like he thinks like this is a baby, like I can't turn this child over to these people that I know aren't going to take care of him, even though this guy is not like fatherly at all, or seemingly at least. And so he basically steals him back. So now he's like running away from his clients, who is the New Republic, right? Or that new emperor. I don't exactly know like the terminology still. But basically he's running away from these people that are trying to catch him, while also trying to work as a bounty hunter in this galaxy. So he meets like people along the way that kind of come and go in each episode. But then at one point it's just basically a race to save Baby Yoda.
Yes.
And we still don't know if he's a clone. There's theories he's a clone because Yoda never had children. We don't know. Where this Baby Yoda came from. But it's clear there's going to be a season 2 with how it ended. So I think we'll find out more answers. Like they said, it is such a live action type of show. It's so high energy. It's like, if you like Star Wars, if you like the movies, you will love this show.
Yeah. I love the movies more, but our boyfriends prefer the show. Doesn't Tommy too?
Tommy loves the movies.
Oh, James prefers the show.
Well, he doesn't like the movies.
Yeah, he doesn't really like the movies. But he thought the show was so good, and he usually doesn't like the movies. So they're different enough that I think if you don't like one of them, you might like the other, but still like the same galaxy and the same sort of characters and players, and it's so good. It's so good. And it's so fun to watch a show because we love the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
So it's like nice to be able to watch episodes of a show instead of just watching the movie in one, and then you're kind of like, oh, I'm sad that's over. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was a little long-winded, but we wanted to give you guys our recommendations because we know a lot of you love television as much as we do. And I know I said, this is kind of dumb, but I wanted to mention 2 shows that are kind of like all-time favorites of ours that I don't know where you would watch. But one of them being Two Broke Girls, which we watch constantly. We just have the DVD set. It's on CBS, or it was on CBS.
Yeah, but I don't know where you can watch it now.
I don't know either. Oh, I think the CBS All Access app has the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
Because you can watch it on Delta on airplanes.
Okay.
So Two Broke Girls, 10 out of 10, will forever be one of our favorite sitcoms. It's about 2 girls working in a Brooklyn diner, and they have their own cupcake business. It's basically like our dream.
We should watch it today.
We should watch it today. And the second, which could be my all-time favorite sitcom, is Less Than Perfect. I know we've touched on this, but if you know where we can watch seasons 2 through 4, please let us know, because season 1 is only available on DVD, and it's basically, the rest of it is like just disappeared. We don't know how the rest of it is the seasons Patrick Warburton is on, and we loved his character, and now we can't watch it. Like, we have no clue how to watch this show.
Yes, it was an ABC TGIF sitcom that followed a group of co-workers working in it was a newspaper.
Outlet.
It was a national
network.
Was it
national? I think it was, yeah. Yeah, because it took place in New York.
And his name was Will, too.
Oh, weird.
That is weird. But there was an anchor, Will, and Claude gets hired as his assistant, and she's, like, just very, like, funny, bubbly, like, doesn't really belong there. Like, he's very successful, well-known.
They all wear, like, black suits, and she comes in like, her, like, flower dresses.
She has, like, Pez candy, like, on her desk. So she doesn't fit in, which I think the whole premise of the show is she, like, less than perfect?
Yeah.
Okay.
She feels less than perfect.
And then she has her 2, like, best friends that also work in the building. And it's just so funny. I know it doesn't sound like it would be that entertaining, but these people, like, the writing.
Andy Dick is a main character.
Yeah.
And he's so funny.
Zachary Levi, like, we love him.
Yeah.
And
he was, like, 25 during the show. So young.
It's so funny. And if you can find season 1, I actually think season 1 might be on the ABC app. I'm not sure, but watch it. If you can find it anywhere, you won't be disappointed.